Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the Geography 361 Lab 9. In this video, I will demonstrate how to answer the question 4. In the question 4, we will run the linear regression on two variables. One is the pico yield and one is the invested capital. We first copy and paste this data to the Excel, then upload the file to the Anywhere SPSS, then open that Excel file in the Anywhere SPSS. Here is the data we have. The first question is asked us to find the regression equation of y on x. So we need to run the regression thing. So we hit the analyze, then regression, linear regression, this one. Then click OK. So we need to put the pico yield as the dependent, and then the other variable as the independent variable. Then we hit OK. So here is the result. We want to find the equation. So the coefficient we need are just here. So the y should equal to 0.022 x minus 0.187. And then the second one asks us to find the correlation coefficient as the coefficient of determination as r and r squared. So we can find these two values in this table, model summary. So this number is the r, and this number is r, this number is r squared. So the r equals 0.877, and the r squared equals to 0. So actually, okay, let's go to the next one. The next one is what percentage of the variation of y is explained by x. Actually, this value is just the r squared value. So we should see the 77% of y is explained by x. Okay, so here I want you note one thing. So our r is 0.8, then r squared is 0.77. We see 77% of the y is explained by x. Let's go back to the earlier one, question 3, right? So here, if we want to know the percentage of the tree run width is what percentage of the tree run width is explained by the let's say July precipitation. So here the r is 0.38. So the r squared should be a very small number. Let's just assume this is 0.4. Then the r squared should be 0.16. You can see here only 16% of the variation of tree run width is explained by the July precipitation. It means the explained percentage is very low. So when you use the correlation to do your research, and your correlation is not very large, maybe 0.5, although the range of the correlation is between 0 and 1, but you should think about that if your correlation is not very high, even this is 0.6, the explanation percentage is also smaller than 0.4. So here is just one thing you need to note in your research. In this question, it asks you to calculate the pico yield with invested capital of $790. To answer this question, we just put this value back to the equation here. So the y should equals to 0.022 times 390 minus 0. Okay. Then the result is the pico yield. For the next question, we need to use the ANOVA to check whether the value f leads you to accept the non-hypothesis that the slope of regression line equals 0. So let's write our non-hypothesis and alternative hypothesis first. So the non-hypothesis is there is no correlation, which means the slope is 0. Then the alternative hypothesis, there is a correlation, which means the slope is not 0. Actually, you can find that ANOVA table after you run the regression analysis. So we just copy and paste this table back to our answer sheet. Here. From this table, we find the significance level is much smaller than 0.05. Then we see we reject non-hypothesis. Okay, so why we reject the non-hypothesis means the slope is not 0. Why the slope value is correlated with the why the slope value is correlated with the correlation. So let's give you a little bit help. So here we have two graphs, right? And we have some data here. For the first one, the variable x and y have no correlation. So the data are just some random data. And for the second one, they have a positive correlation. And for the third graph, they have negative correlation. If the slope is 0, it's the horizontal line, then we cannot use the x to predict y. So in this situation, they have no correlation. But in the second case and the third case, the slope is greater or less than 0, which means we can use the x to predict y. So in this case, we can see there is a correlation between x and y. Okay, this is the solution for the question 3.